Yo, what up, my home slices? How you doing today? We're going to talk about the individual tower known as the Dartling gun. Ooh, look at this interesting little bad boy right here. Nice. Alright, so first of all, I must say that I am giving you my opinion, so if you don't like my opinion, go down in the comments down there and explain what your opinion is so other people can know. But let's talk about this Dartling gun. Again, it is N for the hotkey. I recommend using that, or learning that for sure, because the Dartling gun is one of those things where you really can't build very easily by going over here and clicking on them if you already have Dartling guns in the way already, because you want to just, you know, hotkey it into existence and be like, sure, and we can keep attacking and stuff like that. Alright, so where should you put a Dartling gun? Honestly, the only real time that it really matters is if you're building farms. If you build a farm, for example, you want to put a Dartling gun kind of like at the opposite corner, something like that. But usually your best bet is to probably make sure that he's kind of aiming towards the front. So I would do something like this if I was building farms. At a level like this, that just makes sense. Then I could just absorb all these bananas while the Dartling gun is going to shoot all the way across the map and hit all these balloons on this other side. One thing that I also recommend doing is if you're not going with a bunch of farms or something in the way, try and shoot down a straight line just a little bit. One nice spot where the Dartling gun might actually work out okay is like something like this. If you build a couple Dartling guns like right down here. Because what he can do is he can shoot down like this way towards the front, and eventually when they start getting over here, you can shoot down this straight line all the way over there, and then eventually when they're starting to come back, you get a nice straight line right here where you can just hit all those balloons. So you usually want to think about straight lines for the Dartling gun. The reason being is that the Dartling gun is one of those towers that can actually miss a lot, and if you're shooting all the way across the screen at like random balloons going all the way across, it is a little bit tough. So, you know, shooting down straight line, just having them hit balloons all the time is something nice. Now, one other thing that you have to think about when placing a Dartling gun is trying to keep it a little bit further away from the map if you're planning on putting it in that exact spot. For example, let's say I wanted to hit some balloons that were like, you know, right here. This is just an example. You notice that his little chain gun right there goes actually onto the track. And what happens with that is, as you can get balloons that can actually, like when the darts come out, they actually do come out of this tip over here. They don't come out of down here. So you can actually have your darts go over the balloons and just hit the ones behind it, which is not something exactly the way you want it to work. You usually don't want it to happen that way. Now, Dartling guns, are they good? Well, I tend to just not use them. It's not that they're a bad tower. It's just hard to micro and manage them while also doing all the other things that you're going to need to do, especially farms and stuff like that. So I usually just tend to try and stay away from them. But in no way are they a bad tower. And in fact, going for something like naps on some of those really hard levels, maybe Dartling guns are some of the best things to use. So, now that we got a good spot for our Dartling guns, I would personally put them probably somewhere, like I said, down here. This would be like my personal favorite spot for Dartling guns. Let's talk about the upgrades. A lot of them are actually kind of self-explanatory. You got the focus firing reduces the spread of the gun. Alright, so that's just a pretty big bonus right there. You just understand that this one is going to be our accurate one, and this one's going to be our non-accurate one. And you can notice if I put it in slow motion, you can kind of see, like, how the one just sprays all over the place and the other one just doesn't. It's also not perfectly accurate. You have to keep in mind this Dartling gun is not shooting down a completely straight line all the time. You notice that it does actually end up going kind of randomly spread out. It's just not as bad as the other ones. So it still can miss, and that's another problem with the Dartling gun. He only pops one balloon per shot, so it's really not a lot of popping power for a low-level Dartling gun, especially when he's $950. It's just really, really expensive to get one of these guys. Really not worth it. Even though he's accurate, he can hit anywhere on the screen. Really not worth it at all. Then we move up to the right-sided upgrade. I want to talk about this really quick because powerful darts is an important upgrade for the Dartling gun. Now, when you move up from this Dartling gun to a powerful Dartling, you start to realize, oh man, this guy actually isn't that bad. He starts to get more effective because now he's popping 3 balloons per shot instead of 1 with only a $600 upgrade. That's 3 times as much popping power. It's like getting 3 Dartling guns at $950 each. It's a lot. Completely effective? No, still maybe not the best thing to get, but definitely something you could think about getting if you wanted to, especially on these longer levels. Gives it more time to react. The longer the level is, the better the Dartling gun is going to be because it has more time to react across the entire screen. A lot of other towers don't have infinite range. They have little tiny bits of range right here, which makes it so it doesn't really matter how long the map is. They're only going to get that popping power in that certain spot that they have. Let's move up to the next upgrades. You got, like I said, 3 balloons per shot. Now keep in mind that if you do use a Dartling gun or something like that, you can increase that by 1. By using this. I talked about the Monkey Village in a previous video, so if you want to go check that out, I explain the 0-1 upgrade completely thoroughly, so that might help you guys out just a little bit in understanding that. The next upgrade is the faster barrel spin. I definitely recommend for sure getting a 0-1 Dartling gun or a 1-1 Dartling gun before you get to the left-sided upgrades. The faster barrel sprint, yeah, it actually does help out quite a bit. Now you got a pretty nice Dartling gun here. You can pop a lot of these green balloons and yellow balloons and all that good stuff with pretty good ease. You know, probably even popping yellow balloons pretty easily. I don't know about yellow balloons at close together things, but yeah. I mean, obviously, they're pretty accurate because he shoots so much that you're really not going to have a bunch of darts missing around all the time, but still not that bad overall. Lots of micro required for sure, but overall, if you can handle it, you can handle it. It's a pretty good tower. So let's move on to the other side of the upgrade. This is Depleted Plutonium darts. This is a really, really expensive upgrade. Is it good? It's not very good just because you can get other towers that get lead popping power a lot easier than this guy, and you can also still miss with stuff, so it's just kind of sad that his plutonium darts are really not that great. Or plutonium, excuse me. I always call them plutonium. Plutonium darts are not quite as amazing. Plutonium, I think they might have changed that. Plutonium darts. I don't know why. I think they might have changed that when Bloons Bucket City came out, though I'm not 100% sure about that. I should probably look into that really quick. So, like I said, it's lead popping power. You can hit camo leads with it. That's something that's kind of nice about it. But other than that, I mean, do you even really need it? I don't know. I usually got other lead popping power by this point, so it's really only just the step up to trying to get to Hydra rockets. So now that we've got the second tier upgrades out of the way, let's talk about the third tier upgrades. These are totally different upgrades that you have to keep in mind that they're both used for different things, but at the same time, they're both kind of equally good in their separate ways. For example, a laser cannon is going to be fairly good versus balloons. Fairly good versus balloons. A little bit better versus Moabs, but it's also not that fantastic versus grouped Moabs. It's probably a little bit better versus those single Moabs and stuff like that. There's a lot better things to use versus the single Moabs, but he's definitely not a bad way to go against them. For example, if we just have one of these laser cannons, let's see if we can take down one of these Moabs. You know what? He's going to do a lot of damage here. Aiming pretty solid-like. Pretty shallow-like. And then when the balloons pop out, this is going to be a little bit of a different story. I mean, he's popping the ceramics fairly easily. The balloons get popped, you know, not too bad. I mean, for 4 ceramics popping out of there, he took them all down, you know, with not too many problems. And had a lot of space left over. Whereas the Hydra rockets, let's go over that really quick versus a Moab. 1, 2, 3. You always want to get these 2 upgrades if you're going to get a Hydra rockets, because it makes them shoot a lot faster. Now we got a Hydra rockets versus the Moab. As you can tell, really not doing that bad. I mean, not good, but definitely not bad. And he's popping this Moab down to nothing by the time it gets over here. But guess what's going to happen? We're going to pop those balloons a lot faster now. It's just going to be like, balloons, done. Done, balloons, done. But also you have to keep in mind that with this guy, he's a lot better versus low-level balloons compared to ceramics. So if you have, you know, billions of rainbows coming out, billions of rainbows, he's just going to demolish these guys. It's going to be like, it's not even going to be like a question on how good he is versus these balloons. He's absolutely stupendous versus compared to a laser vision, of course. But at the same time, maybe you're better off with a 4.2 cannon compared to this guy. Because, I mean, look, he does a good job, but is it enough? I mean, it's barely going to pop these rainbows right here. You know, we still let... Oh, are we going to let balloons through? No, we're not. We're not going to let the balloons through. Pretty darn amazing. Oh, we are going to... No? Oh, my goodness gracious. That was so close. But we did pop all those rainbows, and that was a lot of balloons. That was, you know, about 4 or 5,000 balloons right there. And he took them all down really darn quick. Whereas the laser cannon, let's show you guys the balloons. Laser cannon, we're going to get more powerful darts, even though it really doesn't matter that much. And we'll send out, actually that was not grouped. Let's send out the grouped guys. That's pretty similar to the same amount. And we're going to try and pop all these guys. You can tell it's just really a little bit tougher. It doesn't go get those group balloons quite as easily, and we are going to lose some more lives. I mean, yeah, the laser vision isn't bad. It's still decent versus the balloons, but it's still not quite as good, I would say. Not quite as good versus the balloons. And that's kind of the main difference, is one's a little bit better versus balloons, one's a little bit better versus Moabs, but there was really not that much of a difference between the two, as far as balloon popping power and as far as Moab popping power. But where it does take the cake is the fact that the laser cannon is cheaper. It's, you know, about $2,000 cheaper. Realistically, it's only $1,000 cheaper because it's a $6,000 upgrade versus a $7,000 upgrade. But you also have to buy the plutonium darts, which is $1,000, which you normally wouldn't get unless you're going for the Hydra rockets. So yeah, it's technically about $2,000 more expensive. Laser cannon can also not pop lead balloons, which is something that a lot of people don't really understand. I don't know why. It's just like, it should pop lead balloons, it just don't. Why doesn't it? I don't know. I really can't tell you. It just doesn't. Which is kind of sad. But doesn't pop leads, doesn't pop any of those unless you get this this guy right here, the plutonium darts. I want to say plutonium every single time. But yeah, I mean, whatever. Whatever, but I think where it takes the cake, this is where it actually gets really good, is when you got big groups of Moabs. For example, if you got, we definitely need to get this upgrade right here. If you get this many Moabs, guess what? A laser cannon is really not going to do that amazing versus the Moabs. Where this guy, he's going to be shooting explosions versus every single one of these, and damage them all just about the same. So when the balloons pop out, he's not going to be doing good against them at all. But as far as the Moabs are concerned, when a laser cannon has to deal with these guys, he's going to be just plain awful. But he can pop them all at the same exact freaking time. So this is where I think the right-sided Hydra Rockets upgrade does take the cake when it comes to Moab popping power. I personally think that versus grouped Moabs, this guy's actually going to win out most of the time. As you can tell, we popped all those Moabs pretty darn easily, where the laser cannon probably wouldn't do quite such an amazing job. And again, is the Hydra Rockets really that amazing? No, it's not. I mean, it's just probably a little bit better, and that's pretty much the difference. Let's move on to the 4th tier upgrades. Now we've got to go between a unbelievably, ridiculously expensive upgrade to the Ray of Doom, a persistent solid beam of balloon destruction. This is where balloon popping power is definitely higher for this guy. Infinite ceramics. No balloons can even remotely get by this guy. You can notice that, like, oh man, it actually doesn't infinitely pop them. No, not really. But I also kind of have it in a bad spot. If I put him in a very good spot, for example, if I put him in a straight line shooting spot, like, let me show you guys this. Let's go like this. Put them right here, shoot down this straight line the entire time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to send out a bunch of regrow ceramics like crazy. Send them all out, even make them regrow a little bit. You know, maybe that'll be kind of fun. Just make them regrow a tiny bit to make them even worse. Make them all regrow into ceramics. So now we get tons of regrow ceramics on the screen. I'm even lagging so hard because of this. But guess what? The Ray of Doom, look at that. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Taking them all down like wildfire. You can't even get close to getting past this guy. Can't even get close. He did 27,000 pops. So ridiculous. I know it's very expensive, but also very, very good versus balloons. How often late game are you having a lot of problems with balloons? Not very often. And that's probably the biggest weakness to him, is just that the fact that you don't really need that much balloon popping power. He's kind of a waste. But when you move on to the other side of Hydra Rockets, it's not that amazing either. So we get the balloon area denial system. Alright. The ability kind of sucks. It shoots out a missile towards the nearest 100 balloons on the screen. I know it sounds like it's really, really good, but it's really not that amazing. I mean, even if you got a bunch of zebra balloons coming out or something like that, nearest 100 balloons on the screen, so we're just going to go like this. We're going to go kapop, and it does do a decent job at exploding those guys, but at the same time, it's still not that amazing. Now, the one thing that people don't really realize is that it does not just send out one wave of them, it actually sends out multiple waves of them. So if you just have crazy amounts of blues coming out, regrow ceramics like crazy, maybe we can do a decent job against these guys. So we're going to use this ability really quick. Boom! And boom! And it shoots a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time! So it did a fantastic job versus those balloons. Absolutely. Absolutely. It only lasts for like 10-15 seconds though, and then it does actually wear out. But it's not a one-time thing, which is what a lot of people think. In fact, I used to think that for a long time too, and that's why I know about this. So yes, again, versus balloons, this guy's not very bad, but again, it's an ability, so you can't get it every single second that you want it. You're gonna have to wait a few seconds in between those. Whenever you get this guy, of course, you always want to get the focused firing and the faster barrel. It's going to make you do a lot more popping power. But as far as just the regular guy goes, I would say he's decent. But he's definitely not awesome. You know, he's definitely not as amazing as he possibly could be. As far as the price goes, he's pretty decent. He's okay. 3 times as good as the Hydra Rocket's about. Not too shabby. That's pretty much what I gotta say. It's kind of hard to say about the Hydra Rockets because, again, it's not as great versus balloons, but it's still okay. And then, like, the 4th tier left-sided one's not good versus Moabs anyways, even though it seems like it should be. It's really not that great versus them. It's decent versus Moabs, but once you get to the higher balloons, not quite the same. So I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but I want to try and show you guys the difference between the two. It's pretty much like whatever you want to get. It's going to be about the equal amount of awesomeness. That's all I really have to say. Equal amount of awesomeness between both 3rd tier upgrades and both 4th tier upgrades. Whatever you like better. There's not really a bonus in any certain way. And that's what I'm going to stick with. So let's recap really quick about the Dartling gun. When you got a 0-0 Dartling gun, not worth it. When you got low-level Dartling guns, get like a 1-1 Dartling gun. He's pretty decent, but you're probably going to want to get a 2-1 Dartling gun at least. And then your 2-1 Dartling guns actually have a lot of Moab popping power, not quite as much balloon popping power. You can get a lot better towers for that. But 2-1 Dartling guns are definitely something that you can do for Moabs. If you got like 2 or 3 of these guys, just pop the Moabs fairly easily. Oops, I just upgraded that one too many times. We'll get 2-1 Dartling guns. You send out a Moab really quick, and you watch this. It's going to pop the Moab fairly easily. And keep in mind that this is like really far away, and we're missing with a lot of darts. But we popped him pretty reasonably quick. I mean, and then the balloons, like I said, it's not bad balloon popping power. It's just not good balloon popping power. Look at how long it actually does take to pop these guys with 3 Dartling guns. And you can take down a level 46 Moab with just 3 Dartling guns. Pretty decent. But then when you have level 47 pop out and you have a lot of ceramics coming on in here, a little bit different of a story. Plus a Moab maybe or something like that. A little bit different of a story. You're not going to be able to do quite as amazing versus these guys. And that's where, like, the 2-1 Dartling gun kind of is weak, you know, versus these balloons. Then when you move up to 3rd tier upgrades, get whatever the heck you want. If you like the laser cannon, get the laser cannon. If you like the hydro rockets, get the hydro rockets. Either way, you're going to have to micro quite a bit. It's kind of a little bit of work to micro. 4th tiers, do whatever you want. The hydro rockets ability, what is it called? 04. The balloon, the BADS upgrade. The people call it the BADS. The BADS upgrade is pretty darn amazing because it does shoot out missiles 100 in the nearest 100 balloons multiple times. So you can definitely take care of balloons. As you can see, I sent out a bunch of regrow ceramics, and we took them all down with that upgrade right there. So it was pretty darn sweet. Other than that, hydro rockets and all that good stuff, it's about equal, and that's all I'm really going to say. So that's all I'm going to have for today. So as always, thanks for watching. Have a super duper delicious day. Hey there guys, I'm Super John Bombo, also known as Chris. Hopefully you enjoyed the videos. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, like, or favorite any of them that you want to. Also, we've got a bunch of other cool videos here if you want to check them out. We got just a random video, we got Bloons Monkey City, or if you want to check out Random Knot series, those are personally my favorite videos to make. Also, we got a new channel here called Super Science, so if you haven't checked out any of my science videos and you just want to learn something, go ahead and check that out. Thanks for watching guys, and have a super duper delicious day.